In the last 30 days, I spent $320,000 on Facebook ads for 3 brands in my client portfolio at an average ROAS of 3.5. I've been personally spending 3 to 500K per month, 800K sometimes per month since 2021, so a few years already. And if there's one question I always get asked, no matter where I am, if I'm in a podcast, if I'm in an interview, if I'm in a weekly coaching session, if I'm doing a conference, and that question is, how do you fix ROAS inconsistency? Does that sound familiar? One day your ROAS is 5, next day it's 1, next day it's 3, then it stays at 2 for 1 week, and then it's just dancing in between 1 and 2, and then it goes to 5 again. It's just crazy. Your ROAS is dancing and you don't know how to stop it. So in this video, I'll tell you the one thing that's giving you ROAS inconsistency. I'll tell you 2 ways to fix that today. And we're gonna see 4 real life examples. So it's gonna be super easy to understand and implement it for you. Let's go into my screen. So inconsistent ROAS, here's how to fix it forever. And in my opinion, this is gonna be the most important Facebook ads video you will ever watch. Because if you know how to fix the ROAS inconsistencies, the sky's the limit when it comes to scaling. So we're gonna see more in detail right now. But to be honest, as a media buyer, as somebody that's spending a lot of money on there, one of the most important skills is fixing ROAS inconsistency, because all of us are gonna have those. It's impossible not to have it. And so in order to deliver that in a proper structure, this is the content format we're gonna follow, the structure. So first things first, breaking down the ROAS metric, quick explanation of the metrics behind this metric, which in reality is not even a metric. Why ROAS is a vanity metric, what actually matters. Finally, bottlenecks, your obstacle to millions, and from there we see the two types of bottlenecks, and then how to solve a traffic bottleneck and how to solve a conversion bottleneck, and I'll give you a couple of real life examples on each of them. So let's get straight into it. Breaking down the ROAS metric. So ROAS, pretty simple metric. This is purchase conversion value divided by ad spend, which in reality is a revenue to cost ratio. That is it. It's just a ratio. It's not a real metric. So if you spend $1,000 on Facebook ads and make 4K, then your ROAS is 4. Pretty simple. May spend 3.5, make 12.6, ROAS is 3.61. Cool. Depending on your profit margins, etc., LTV, whatever, you're gonna want a ROAS of 3, a ROAS of 2, or a ROAS of 5. Depends on the case. I've got friends running on a 1.6 ROAS and they're happy. So it's just a matter of volume and profit. But anyways, ROAS is just revenue and cost. That's it, okay? Revenue, which we're gonna call conversion now in a minute, is gonna be revenue per visit if you wanna have the unit economics in unitary, like revenue per visit. And then for cost, we're gonna do the same, which I'm gonna call traffic. We're gonna run on CPC. Revenue per visit is gonna be derived from conversion rate and AOV. And CPC is gonna be derived from CPM and CTR. This is just to simplify things, okay? And therefore, the ROAS becomes revenue per visit divided by CPC. That's it. So how much do I make per visit? How much does each visit cost me? That's it. To increase the ROAS, you want to increase revenue metrics, conversion metrics, or you want to decrease cost, traffic bottlenecks. Okay? Oi, that was a spoiler. Anyways, so where revenue per visit is AOV times conversion rate, and CPC is CPM divided by CTR times 1,000. That's it. So ROAS becomes this long little thing here that you don't even have to learn, but this is it, right? So as a conclusion, the metrics that directly affect your ROAS are conversion rate, average order value, CTR, and CPM. This is it. These are the 4 points where we want to put our attention in when it comes to ROAS, okay? And we're going to mention here on another note, yeah, there are metrics that are far more important than your ROAS. For sure. Net profit, CAC, LTV, MER, for sure. But if the video is about ROAS, direct response, and Facebook ads, we're just gonna put attention on ROAS, not on the economics of an ecom brand as a whole. So point number 2, why ROAS is a vanity metric and what actually matters. So ROAS alone brings no information. It's a stupid metric. If you go to the ads manager and you see a ROAS of 1.2, which this has happened to all of us here pretty much, guys, and you try to fix it just by looking at the ROAS, there's nothing you can do. There's no fixing. There's nothing. Because ROAS is just not a lead metric. Gives no information. It's just a ratio. All right, so it's the metric that reflects and summarizes the other metrics that are behind it. So yeah, to be able to fix a bad ROAS, you've got to dig deeper, and you got to find a bottleneck keyword here for the whole video. Let's see the scenario. My ROAS dropped to 0.8. Why? Where's the bottleneck? And I'm gonna ask to you, is it a traffic bottleneck? And then we're gonna check together CPC, CTR, and CPM. Or is it a conversion bottleneck? And we're gonna check together conversion rate and AOB. And once we find the metric that has deviation from standard, from average, that has deviation, we're gonna fix that. And so, to be honest with you, one of the most important skills as an advertiser, a media buyer, a creative strategy, whatever, somebody that's actively scaling a Facebook ads account and has a responsibility. One of the most important skills you can learn is identifying and solving bottlenecks. I'm gonna say this 5 or 10 times through the video, but it really is, because anyone can scale, but at scale, things break. So you need to know how to fix those things that have been broken. So again, my ROAS went down. What do I do? Just don't ask yourself, what do I do? Like, I think I mentioned at the beginning of the video, every 2 weeks in the group coaching that we have in my program, somebody asks, the ROAS is going down. What would you do in my scenario, in this niche? And I'm like, find the bottleneck. And we have to dig deep. They share their screen, check the ads manager, check the correlation in between a report that I will show you now in a minute. And from there, analyze, find the bottleneck, fix the bottleneck. And I had the case with a really close friend of mine. I'll put the example down below, but a really close friend of mine, which was like, hey man, December was amazing, evergreen, no flash campaign. December was amazing, but January is being really bad. Yeah, I know that people have less money because they spent a lot, but man, apart from that, what do we do? And we found the bottleneck and we fixed it. And you will see how in a minute. But don't make this question. Just ask yourself, where's the bottleneck? If you get one conclusion from this video, be it the fact that you're not gonna ask, my ROAS went down, what do I do? You're gonna ask, where's my bottleneck? And you're gonna find it. Some Spanish wine here. So, bottlenecks, your obstacle to millions. A bottleneck is I think everybody knows what's a bottleneck, but physically, a bottleneck is this thing. So when the bottle becomes thinner, smaller on here, less liquid can go through this than it can go through this, because the width is just different. And so if if I drop this thing, because I've got a little bottleneck here, the water is not gonna drop as fast as it would drop if it was this width. It's gonna drop slower. And the same for this. So there's the bottleneck here, which, to give you an example, this width would represent the amount of link clicks that you have, and then this width would represent the amount of purchases you get in your Shopify store. Pretty simple. So yeah, of course you have a bottleneck, but you will always have a bottleneck because you're gonna get a lot of people and 90% are not ready to buy. Now, when it comes to marketing, a bottleneck refers to any point in the sales process that limits the overall flow, preventing the business from achieving a desired result, which basically means through the marketing process on Facebook ads, which is impression, click, landing page, add to cart, checkout, purchase confirmation. In all of this process, there are going to be bottlenecks. Processes where, the bottleneck, it will always be a funnel. So you will always have less add to carts than link clicks. But at some point when one of these metrics is too far away, like you never pay €2 for a click, but all of a sudden the ROAS is down and your CPC has tripled, that's the bottleneck. So it's I call it deviation from average metric. Deviation from average of a metric. So to keep it simple, again, if your cost per add to cart on average in the whole ad account is 4 historically, and now in January it's 8, you've got a problem there. So that's a bottleneck. Now, these obstacles or inefficiencies that lower profitability and increase cost, That's basically what a bottleneck is going to do, and it's going to reduce the effectiveness of the campaign. Basically, reduce your ROAS. But don't go to the ROAS. Go to the inefficiencies. Find the inefficiencies and solve them, right? So example of bottlenecks. And again, it's important to mention there are many bottlenecks in an e-com brand, e-com business. Like you can have logistics bottlenecks. You can have a team bottleneck where 2 people are sick and 1 is pregnant, and you have 3 less people in the team. So many bottlenecks, but in this case, we're just going to focus on 2. Example of bottlenecks, my ROAS goes from 3 to 1 month over month, because this is going to be important. Okay, last month it was 3, this month it's 1, every single day 1, flat. So the thing here is, let's see, if 2 months ago you stopped testing new creatives, and now all your ads have in the ads manager creative fatigue, which increases your CPM and lowers your ROAS, Facebook is punishing you, then the bottleneck is the CPM, and the reason why is that your creative pipeline is pretty much dry. And so this is what we have to work on. And you don't go to the ads manager ignoring your creative pipeline and then seeing a ROAS of 1 and being like, well, Facebook's not working. Facebook's been pretty bad to us. No, bro, the problem is this. So let's go to the second case. The ROAS goes from 3, every day consistent, to 0.5 yesterday. So it's 1 day at 0.5. So it's a deviation of 1 day. Now, usually in these scenarios, it's like a technical problem on Shopify that the add to cart is not working, for example. So the metric that deviates, you check all your metrics. The metric that deviates is the cost per add to cart. CPC, CTR, CPM are the same as usual. But if you compare last 30 days, cost per add to cart 5. Yesterday, cost per add to cart 15. Wait, something's happening here. I didn't put it here, but I would just look at the next steps. Cost per landing page view. It's very close to the CPC. Okay, we're good there. Cost per add to cart, really, really high. Okay, so we've got a problem. Pick the phone, simulate the customer journey, and you realize, oh, the add to cart button is frozen. It just doesn't work. Bottleneck. So the quicker you can realize that you have a bottleneck, the faster you will solve it. So stay paranoid, I would say. The 2 types of bottlenecks. So if you remember at the beginning I mentioned the ROAS depends on revenue and cost. Therefore, we have bottlenecks in revenue, which we're going to call conversion, and bottlenecks in cost, which we're going to call traffic. To simplify things, name that I've put, traffic bottleneck, conversion bottleneck. That is it, okay? If we want to dominate Facebook ads and have ROAS consistency, we need to learn how to fix ROAS inconsistency. The most important thing as a media buyer, as an advertiser, as a CEO of an e-com brand where you want to scale to $1 million a month and 50% of the revenue is going to come through Facebook ads, what do you have to learn? All of the things you have to learn, but fixing ROAS inconsistency. So when things break, do you know how to fix that? Because things are going to break. I can guarantee you things will break at scale, always. And so it's the same as a marathon. So in a marathon, what do you have? You have, let's say, first 10K are easy. Second 10K equals problems. So only if I can solve these problems, also the bottlenecks, I'm going to be able to successfully finish my marathon. And so I haven't done a marathon, but I've done half a marathon, and it's way easier. But to a certain extent, I can relate, let's say. And so the beginning is easy, which means, for example, when things are great, scaling in the ad account on Facebook ads, super easy. Pick your winning ads, put into a scaling structure, boom, 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 first 3 days, we're rolling, we're scaling if things are phenomenal. And then in day 3, bam, scaling campaign breaks. Bam, a lot of ABO testing is breaking and the retargeting is not hitting as much. Man, the overall account now is just destroyed. And then what do? Wake up depressed in the morning, look at the ads manager, complain on Twitter a little bit. It's Zuckerberg. It's not the solution, right? And so, as in a marathon, the ones who know how to solve the problems that arise a few days after scaling are going to be the ones that keep on scaling. If you don't know how to solve those problems, first of all, identify those problems, and second, solve them, that there's nothing to be scaled, because you're going to stop scaling. You're not stupid. You're not going to be wasting money. So yeah, first of all, identify the origin of the ROAS inconsistency, the bottleneck, and second, fix it. So how to solve a traffic bottleneck? This is going to be the first type of bottleneck. Let's see it. So as a definition, traffic bottleneck, this is an inefficiency in your traffic metrics that is causing ROAS to drop. So the ROAS is going down because I have a problem in my traffic metrics. Traffic metric, the CPC. But the CPC has the same problem as your ROAS. It brings no information. It's just a reflection of two metrics, which are the CTR and the CPM. So we have to look at these two metrics that make the CPC. The CTR, I mean, everybody knows what this thing is, click-through rate. What it tells you is, do users like my ad? And then the CPM is telling you, does Facebook like my ad? And so if the CTR is shit, users are not, they don't like your ad. They're not interested. And if the CPM is really bad, either you have crazy competition, Black Friday, okay. But if it's higher than usual, like usually you're paying €5 CPC and CPM, sorry, and now you're paying €20 CPM, Facebook's shadow banning you. So let's see what to do about it. Now let's say an example. So this is a swimwear brand. Let's say this is a swimwear brand from the US. And they come to me on a consulting call and they say, hey Manel, look, the ROAS is down in September. What do we do? The typical question, which is okay. Like, not everybody needs to know what to do. That's the reason I put out these videos and I do coaching. But ROAS is down in September. I'm going to ask why. They're going to share the screen. We're going to see the ads manager, all the metrics, because the CPC has gone up. Okay. Why? Because the CTR has gone down from 2% in August and July to 0.8%. Okay. And then I'm going to ask why. And they might reply, or I might reply, or just by common sense, we're going to say, because it's September and I'm selling swimwear, so people are not so interested. Makes sense. I mean, this is an obvious case, but it's just to simplify things. Now, okay, what can be done? And so the conclusion from that is we're going to sell to sunny cities or countries instead of Europe. And so we're going to be selling to Australia, New Zealand, Florida, California, Texas, so those states that are hot, Mexico, South Africa, and the UAE. That's it. So that will be a simple conclusion. Now we're going to see more complicated cases. But from there, you can easily see people are not interested. And as we said here, CTR, do users like my ad? No, they don't. They're not interested. Like, if you're from Europe or if you're from any country that has a proper winter, by October, November, cold, you will see that this doesn't make any sense in September. So yeah. Now, how to find the traffic bottleneck? Please do this. The first thing you want to do is create a Facebook report. Okay? Go to the ads manager, click on create new report. And then from there, create new report. You want to eliminate all the columns except ROAS and CPC. So leave the ROAS, leave the CPC. Okay? From there, you want to click on pivot table, click on this thing. Just pause the video and do it, because otherwise I can guarantee you're not going to do it. And this is useful stuff. Click on pivot table and switch to trend. You can see here, trend in this button. Okay, now I see a correlation of two metrics over time, which is useful. Because if I tell you let's analyze the correlation in between ROAS and CPC, and you have no idea how to do that, you're in there for pain. So I'm telling you how to do it. Like, I have not seen this thing in any YouTube video. I actually have people in my program that don't have this. Not that I haven't mentioned, I have mentioned, but they don't do it. And so do it. Above, we've got the ROAS. Below, we've got the CPC. If I tell you to analyze this correlation and you go to the ads manager and you start going by yesterday, CPC, ROAS, the day before yesterday, CPC, ROAS, the 20th of January, CPC, right? It's impossible to analyze anything. Just do this thing. It's free. It's there. It doesn't even take any time to load. So what I realized from this correlation is that there's an inverse correlation, and when my ROAS goes down, my CPC goes up, or when my CPC goes up, my ROAS goes down. And this happens from December 22nd to January 26th. But I've got to dig deeper. Why? Because the CPC tells me no information. I've got to look at the CTR and the CPM as we mentioned before. So I still have ROAS above here. This is my ROAS since December and January. And then by week. And then below I've got the CTR, okay? So I can see how the CTR went from 1.3 to 0.8% in that same period. This is pretty bad. Okay, seems to be like this is the bottleneck. Let's check the CPM. The CPM is almost the same from this December 22nd to January 26th. It's oscillating from $21 to $23, so let's forget about it. It's not the CPM. It's probably the CTR. I've got a problem in CTR, okay? So what do we do? CTR is easy to fix, but when I see this thing, for example, I'm a victim. Well, let's say I'm in the ads manager and I'm only looking at the ROAS. This is shit. This is really bad. And if I go and create one of these reports and I've got the CPC and the ROAS, I can realize, okay, it's the CPC, but still tells me nothing. But if I realize, okay, it's the thing that I've gone from a CTR of 1.3 to 0.8, and then, of course, my CPC is going up and things are not great. Okay, let's fix the CTR. So, again, as I mentioned, we've gone from my ROAS is going down, what do I do? To an actual useful question. How do I increase my CTR in January and February? This is a good question. This is high quality because this has a solution. Of course, in this case, to fix it, everybody would tell you, yeah, of course, December was an easier month. You had your Christmas campaign, your Boxing Day. Everybody had money to spend. The willingness to spend was high. Market liquidity, the double payment, salary, stuff like this. And then, in January, there's no market liquidity. People have no money, so nobody wants to spend any money. So they don't click on the ads. Thank you. But this is not useful, so we have to dig a little bit deeper. Things to do: run a winter sale. Check for ad fatigue, because that can be causing that problem. Check for ad relevance and messaging. Like, is my message still relevant in January? What do people care about in January and February in regards to my niche? Do they care about new goals, new year, new me, 2025? Or like, what do they care about? And from there, just make new ad creatives. Another thing that's interesting, ask yourself, what was the highest CTR ad format in January of 2024? So last year. And you want to make new ad creatives that are similar to those. Just to give you an example, imagine the winning ad creative based on CTR last year was a split screen with a model on the left and the product on the right. And that has crazy CTR in January of 2024. And then I ask you, do you have this thing active right now in January 2025? And you say, no. I was like, why not? No, because we were running it for Black Friday, and then after Black Friday, we eliminated the discount, we turned off the ads, and we forgot. Okay, let's activate it. So activate it and make ads similar to those. And then the other thing, what type of ad creatives are my competitors running? And if it makes sense, don't just copy for the sake of copying it. But if it makes sense, model those ad creatives. Yeah? So, on the other side, if your CTR was all good, but the problem was the CPM, we have to work on the CPM. We're going to do another video on that because we're already in minute 20 or something like that. So we're going to do another video about CPM. It's a pretty deep topic and it's difficult to understand. You have to talk about the auction, the algorithm, etc. So next video. For now, how to solve a conversion bottleneck. As a definition, a conversion bottleneck is an inefficiency in your conversion process. So basically the website, your store, Shopify, that is causing ROAS to drop because it's causing potential customers to not finish a purchase. So when the CPC is amazing and the problem is in conversion rate, in the conversion process, we ask ourselves, why are people not buying, or why are they spending so little money that I'm not profitable in the ads? And so we're going to see that we have a problem with conversion by checking our conversion rate and AOV. Example situation to make things easier. Client comes to me. I used to have a ROAS of 3 in the last 15 days, but now since 5 days ago, my ROAS has dropped to 1.6. For 5 days, every single day, 1.5, 1.6, 1.7, 1.5, 1.6, 1.7, 1.6. Okay. And I ask why. They say, I don't know. I said, Did your CPC change over this period? No, the CPC is pretty much the same. So CPM and CTR are basically flat. Okay. Did your conversion rate and AOV change during this period? And they say, yes, mainly my conversion rate. It has dropped a lot. Okay, so we have a conversion bottleneck. Let's work on it. Conversion bottleneck, the conversion rate. So possible causes, seasonality and macroeconomics. This could be, but there's nothing you can do about it. And so I'll just put it here because it can be the case. And conversion rate drops, like if there's a war, conversion rate is going to drop. If there's a crisis, if there's a, I don't know, if it's January and people overspent in Black Friday and Christmas, of course, your conversion rate is going to be lower. Don't compare January to December. I've said this in coaching calls many, many times. Don't compare January to December. Compare January to January. So January 25 versus January 24. And we've hit records with the clients. We're very happy, but we did less revenue in January than in December. I think in all of the cases. But year over year, we're growing 60%, 100%, 70%. Everybody's happy. So apart from that, let's keep on going. So possible causes for the conversion rate. Some page button doesn't work. Page loading speed is not optimized for the mobile. Stock of bestsellers, no stock, lack of trust. There are many, many reasons, right? But this is already creating a problem because you have to go deeper. What is lowering your conversion rate? And I'm not the best for conversion rate. I mean, I know a lot. We have 8 years of experience. I've seen a lot of things. But I'm not dedicating my daily life to increasing conversion rate of an e-com store. That being said. So if we go to Shopify conversion rate, and I see that my conversion rate is dropping, imagine this was dropping like 50%. You've got 3 points here. And these are important because it could be case number 1 that nobody's adding to cart. Or it could be case number 2 that everybody's adding to cart, they love it, 20% of the traffic adds to cart. But then nobody goes to checkout. Oh, something happens in the cart. Or if they don't add to cart, something happens in the product page. You see that it's a different problem? So you have to face it differently and fix it differently. And so in this example, you can see how the conversion from checkout to purchase is amazing. So let's say it's like 4.3 to 3%. 4.3 to 3% is phenomenal. It's good. Not a lot of people are falling from here to here. But 6% add to cart rate, in my opinion, depending on the brand, but in my opinion, it's pretty bad. 6% is poor. So, and it has decreased 21%. So I don't like it. And therefore, I would say the problem to cover is people just don't add to cart, which it can be a problem in January. It's like, it makes sense that people don't add to cart in January when they have no money, but it is a problem. So again, as I mentioned, you could have other problems, like they add to cart, but they don't go to checkout, or they go to checkout, but they don't go to purchase confirmation. But for now, the main conclusion is for each one of those steps, you want to have a checklist and go through the checklist when you have that problem. And if you have that template, it's much easier and faster to solve. So for landing page to add to cart, go through this checklist. Does the page load properly on mobile with the link from the ads? Does it take a long time? So for this, just compare CPC to cost per landing page view. Cost per landing page. Does the add to cart button work properly? Is the page easy to navigate on mobile? And I'm not saying is it beautiful on mobile. I'm saying, can I load things fast, check information fast, click on the button and every single button works and it's easy to see and easy to click and everything? Yes or no on mobile. Clear display of the product with great images. Maybe I saw the ad, the product, phenomenal, DPA, sweet, blah, blah, blah. I found my perfect t-shirt. And then I go to the product page, but the t-shirt looked like shit. So then I don't add to cart. And so that could be a bottleneck. No lack of, basically, you have a lack of information about the product, and that's creating doubt in my mind. And then conversion elements, trust, social proof, all of these things are gonna increase or lower the add to cart rate. And then you wanna do the same for cart to checkout and the same for checkout to purchase confirmation. And that's how you fix a conversion bottleneck. Now, what if the problem is AOV? So this will be the other side of a conversion bottleneck. Again, ROAS, revenue per visit, CPC. And revenue per visit is this thing. So here we have the AOV. Now, the first question is, why would the AOV drop? And we have to understand. So the first case is you're running a flash campaign with discounts, which in this case, the increase in conversion rate from the discount should offset the decrease in AOV. The other case, you're sending a lot of traffic to cheaper products. This happened to me with a client This happened to me from DPA ads, so dynamic carousel. Cheap products were ranking higher and Facebook was giving more budget to those. I don't know. And then algorithm ranking products in the products in the collection page. So some of my clients have a specific internal algorithm to rank the products based on a whole lot of variables, from best selling to shipping times, etc., stock and everything. So the algorithm is ranking cheap products, and then the DPA is spending money on cheap products, and so people go to cheap products and my AOV is lower, so I'm not profitable on ads. That's it. So if I have this problem, I better be quick to find that this is the bottleneck. So first of all, the bottleneck is the AOV, but why? Why the AOV is the problem? Because of this thing. And fix it to recover the ROAS. Otherwise, I'm going to be suffering for a whole week. So again, and for the 5th time, one of the most important skills, if you operate and scale a Facebook ad account, or 5 or 20 of them, is finding and fixing bottlenecks. That's in the coaching calls that we have, one-on-one group. That's what I'm doing. I'm just troubleshooting ad accounts and finding bottlenecks and fixing bottlenecks, or giving ideas of how they could be fixed, because sometimes I just lack information. The other thing, you're sending more traffic from price-sensitive countries. So you check that. This happened to me also. First half of January, I don't know how, my mistake, I was decreasing the amount in one ad account, the amount we were spending in the US, which usually increases our AOV, because the US people are really good people and they like to spend money. So we started sending more traffic from Europe, few countries in Europe that don't like to spend so much money. And so the AOV went down. And we saw that, and it's now fixed. Fantastic. But we have to see it and understand it and troubleshoot it. 4, you're sending more traffic from price-sensitive demographics. So all of a sudden, I was selling a serum, imagine, a serum for the face, and I was initially wanting to target women that are 40 plus, so they have savings, they have a good job, etc., they're established, they can spend 60 euros on a serum. But then, or they can spend 79 on a routine. But then I start sending traffic from, you start doing TikTok, for example, and you're sending a younger demographic to the website, 18 to 24. And then they are buying this $19.99 tester serum. Yes, your AOV is going to drop. So you have to analyze that. 5, you've removed or changed your upsells. 6, your recurring customer rate has decreased. And now 90% of your sales come from new customers, which of course are not going to spend as much money as somebody who knows you for the last 7 months. And then just seasonality, as I mentioned before. Many ways to increase the AOV. Very first thing, and I'm going to do the same as the CPM. Very first thing, why is it decreasing? And if it's just seasonality, what can I do? To a certain extent, we cannot force the market. But if you see that are things like this, it's really quick to fix, as I did in that case. So I'll just talk about AOV more in the future videos, not to overextend this. Last thing here, other examples. So example in January, my ROAS is going down. Why? I don't know. Is it the CPC? No. CPC is better than ever due to low CPM. What happened to your AOV? It's just 2 euros down, but it's as usual. What happened to conversion rate? Conversion rate is really bad. It keeps going down. All right, let's work on it. Conversion rate is going to be the lever to increase your ROAS. What do? Winter sales plus a lot of urgency in the website. Put countdowns, winter sales, 2 days only, etc. With this, we actually did this. I mean, not to fix the bottleneck. We did that, and we did the winter sales with a 1 week of urgency, and it worked really well. It saved the month of January. So we had growth year over year. It was nice. Example from a friend last week. He mentioned, Manel, ROAS is going down. And I said, why? I don't know. Is it the CPC? And real case, he said CPC went from 0.2 to 0.67. I'm like, okay, we probably have a heavy bottleneck here. What happened to the conversion rate in the AOB? Yeah, pretty much the same, almost flat. We just get less traffic, and so we're selling less stuff. Okay. So the bottleneck is the CPC, but again, as I mentioned before, and this is the last example, this is not enough. Why did the CPC triple? Is it because of CTR or CPM? It was not CPM because January is cheap, and that's true. It was CTR. Okay. We go deeper. It's low CTR in your past winning ads or low CTR in the new ads that you're testing, because he hired like an agency and they had new creatives. It's like both. When he answers both, I take a different direction, because if he would say only in the past winning ads, I would say you have burned those ads, stop doing them. Or if he says it's the new agency, I would say just make more of the past winning ads. So I would go in that path. I would say, show me the past winning ads. It's this and this. Okay, from this and this, we're going to make babies. And we're going to make 20 babies. And we're going to put those into consolidated campaigns. But the case was both. So everything. So then my next question is, if everything has a low CTR, is the product still relevant in January? He said, yes. I said, okay. So then, okay, you have a problem with ad creatives. Okay, so what is the pattern? And he mentioned, but you have to understand where is the real problem. Go to the ad account last 7 days, order the column by CTR, and you check. And you see the worst CTR comes from high production videos. The best CTR comes from homemade UGC videos, which is the real case. Now the solution, make more homemade UGC videos. That's it. From there, because the problem is the CTR and the CPC, switching from videos to images is going to solve the problem. Create homemade UGC images. And after that, if you see success, for example, with UGC images, make babies. Create before and after images with headline. Create problem solution images with headline. Create relatable image with headline. Create a meme, etc. And with that, you fix it. It takes work. Like, I'm not giving you the exact solution because there's no exact solution for any case, but it's a skill to be developed. It's an intuition to be developed. And so, yeah, last thing, all the reasons why your ROAS goes down, of course, you're selling a very niche product with a very niche message, and you have already exhausted the easy audience. So now you have to go to a broad market with a different approach. Or you have a over 70% learning phase, so you are in the exploratory algorithm instead of being in an optimized algorithm where the machine is smart. You have low market relevance, as if you're selling swimwear on October in Norway. It's low market relevance, like there's nothing I can do if you come to me to sell in Norway. Seasonality, and then too much vertical scaling too fast. This can usually also just break the ROAS. I had a coaching call with another friend. They're spending 15K a day, 10 to 15K. And in one of the cases, they were scaling the CBOs, I think it was from 25 euros a day to 500, and from 500 to 2,000. And I was like, what the fuck, man? Like, why are you in a hurry? And I understand why he's in a hurry, because it's a specific type of product. But basically, that's going to break the ROAS. So I would diversify a little bit into horizontal scaling. But anyways, as a summary for the video, the ROAS, revenue per visit by CPC. Then always ask, what's the bottleneck? Instead of saying, my ROAS is down, what do I do? And then remember, if you have a traffic bottleneck, it's going to be the CPC. You're going to see it in the CPC. And then from CPC, go CTR, CPM. And last thing, conversion bottleneck, revenue per visit. Check the conversion rate, check the AOB, and see where's the problem. And after that, fix it. Hope it was useful. Manel here. Subscribe to the YouTube if you found it useful. Leave a like, put a comment. That's super exciting for me to read that, see the feedback, and see that you liked it. If you have suggestions for future videos, or if you have questions about your ad accounts, just drop them in the comments. And if you want to see who I work with and how I work in the coaching group, one-on-one, etc., in the description you have a link. Wish you all the best, and I'll see you in the next one. Ciao.